Cinema Podcast. I'm your co-host Nate,
And I'm Bill.
and welcome to episode 61.
We're back.
Please, no.
How's you doing today, sir?
Well, speaking of stereotypes, you were telling me earlier you were reading the Black Panther
Well,
movie
I
soundtrack.
considered buying it because I do like that one song from Kendrick Lamar, "All the Stars," which is more of
Oh,
like a song than a rap.
oh,
Um,
okay, that fits your old ass style.
yeah. So, but I'm reading the soundtrack, and of course, there's a parent advisory explicit content on the cover. So then you go, okay, well, I mean, I'm not like a prude. I cuss, so big deal. There's 14 songs on the soundtrack. Okay, every single one of them has an explicit sign after the title of the soundtrack of the score of the song. So out of 14 songs, really you can't play any of them in a public setting.
You know, every one of our podcasts has a explicit rating on there.
Yeah, I understand that, but like when I'm sitting at work, just trying to make it through my daily routine, the grind as it were, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm into Black Panther. I like that movie. Let me go ahead and kick up the soundtrack while I'm sitting here doing my work." And then somebody comes in and all you hear is like, "Fuck motherfucker, goddamn bitches." I mean, all
Listen,
14 songs? Is that really necessary?
yeah, Bill, we're no longer living back in the days with Motown and like the Shy Lights where they're just like they spin around in circles wearing sequin suits going, "Girl, I want to hold your hand." They're not doing that nowadays. They're getting down to the nitty gritty.
This is what I'm talking about when I
Drop your
tell you
panties.
that some of these movies that are designed to be appealing to 8 to 80-year-olds, I don't understand. They have to know Black Panther is going to be a big deal for little black kids trying to get like Halloween costumes, dressing like Black Panther. Not just little black kids, but little kids. Hopefully, it'll appeal to all kids, right? But then they want to listen to the music in the soundtrack too because, they like the movie and they like music. And then they take it to their kindergarten class for show and tell. And then the teacher's like going pale when they put the song on because he's like cussing up a storm, talking about bitches and hoes.
Now,
Okay?
now is for every explicit album out there, there's usually a non-explicit album. Is there a
Yeah, I'm
sanitized
looking. There's
version?
no non explicit version that I can see, either on MP3 or on audio CD. I'm looking at all three formats and editions, and
Is
there
there
is no
is
non
there a
explicit.
instrumental version of the Black Panther soundtrack?
Well, there's a score, but that kids aren't going to want to listen to the score. They're going to want to listen to the songs. I'm just
Kids
saying,
don't
I think it's
kids don't
unnecessary.
know that these kids nowadays are exposed to all sorts of things and that I'm the prude because I didn't want children listening to certain things. I mean, they already know this stuff. That's what you always told me.
Okay, right. Listen, if there was like three or four songs that said explicit lyrics, I can deal with that. Maybe even five. Fuck it. I'll just say 7 out of 14 tracks. Okay? But all 14, it seems like a bit much. For me, it seems a bit much. That's all I'm saying. The name of the track, the title track is called Black Panther. I assume there's some kind of like updating of that cartoon theme that we used to sing, and now that has explicit lyrics. Now, why is that necessary?
No, wait, you haven't even played it,
I
have you?
can't. That's not available till the 11th.
Okay, so you don't really know exactly what's being said or what the lyrics are.
You don't think they put explicit on the title track after the title track of the song just for the fucks and giggles of it, right?
Is there a song on there called like "F U!" exclamation point star the police or something like that? Is
Nope.
there a song
Of
like that?
course there's a song called Paramedic! Exclamation mark explicit. Bloody Waters explicit. The King is Dead explicit. Um, Pray for Me explicit. Black Panther explicit. All the Stars, even All the Stars is explicit.
Now wait a second. If the song just goes like this, Black Panther's gonna kick your ass. He's gonna kick that ass with my 2 feet. Is that okay? Or is that too explicit?
I
What
think it's too
word?
explicit, Jay. I'm sorry. I think it's too. You can't if you can't play it, at school. It's too explicit. I remember when I brought Prince's 1999 into show and tell, and Terry Carter like had a fit, and the teacher was like, you have to take that off because it's like offensive. 1999. There's really nothing. Well, maybe
there's some songs in there, some
Darling
lyrics.
Nikki. Is Darling
Yeah,
Nikki on 1999?
I don't know. You may
Okay.
look it up, but either way, Prince was very sexually charged, so I imagine some of those lyrics aren't appropriate for a classroom
Okay.
setting.
I'm not going to argue that I was right. I'm just saying, I think there's a bit
You
much
know, you're just
of
old
this.
now. You're the old man. Get off my lawn now. That's what you are. I mean, listen, this
I
is
don't know
just the
about
way
that.
the world is. There are explicit lyrics. People are doing things. It's fine. I think this is an issue for the parents.
That's fine. I'm just saying I do take some umbrage
And who buys the
to
movie soundtrack anyway?
it's a soundtrack that has all songs on it. It's not the score. It's a total album that
If I
has
want to
new
listen to
music.
Kendrick Lamar, I go and buy his single from Apple iTunes or download it from Rhapsody. Do I really have to listen to the Black Panther soundtrack?
Well,
That's
I think they're pushing it so that you do. I think trying to appeal to people who like artists like Kendrick Lamar and The Weeknd and SZA, whoever that is. Um, so the whole album is original music written by pretty big music people in the industry right now. So I think it's one of those like from and inspired by like the Madonna Dick Tracy soundtrack, not like music
you
that's
know
in the
what?
movie
You've been
necessarily.
black since 1970. It's good to see that it takes a superhero Black Panther movie for you to dabble back into rap. This is what brings you back to the fold. If
Listen,
you were
I'm probably not going to dabble into it.
played it on the soundtrack, this is somehow the only way you would encounter this hip hop. I mean, I guess it's a good thing.
Well, it's not because I'm not buying it because the lyrics are all explicit, and I can't. What's the point?
How about we just wait for the movie and you listen to it? You might start diddy bopping your head to one of those tunes or something else like that.
I like the songs in the score in the trailers. They've kind of grown on me. Step into the spotlight, boom, chicka, boom, chicka, boom, chicka, boom, chicka. Okay, but I mean, you don't hear them cussing up on that. Why they got to cuss up on this? Oh,
Uh,
man. Anyway, it'll probably be on Spotify anyhow, so I probably won't have to buy it, which is good, so that I can listen to the parts that are not offensive and then just turn it off.
yeah. Okay. How much is the soundtrack going for, by the way?
Well, the digital version is 950 and the CD version is 14 on Amazon.
All right. So what else has happened with you before we get into it? We got a lot of stuff to discuss today.
Nothing. I'm just having a lazy Sunday, so
All right. You have a good evening.
I didn't really do anything. Did you?
So Chris is watching The Punisher himself. Is that how
Yeah.
it's going?
So I owe you an apology because apparently I've been lying to you all this time about the fact that we don't do binge watching. Apparently, it's me who doesn't do the binge watching because he killed it off, I think, last night. Like from episode 4, he watched the rest of the show. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. He
Oh,
watched 9 episodes yesterday.
wow.
Apparently, he isn't binge watching. It's just me that it's not. So
Did you look at him a certain way, like I can't believe that you've been doing this?
yes, I did actually. And he was like, "The show's so good." I was like, "Okay, enjoy."
Did he like the ending?
He said it was extremely violent and that I probably wouldn't have liked it
Yeah.
because it was so violent that
I mean,
he thought even him who isn't he likes violent stuff, he was like it's over the top violent.
I thought so too. I mean, you won't get there, but towards the end, I was a little bit like, I don't know if this is necessary. It's just like they're just throwing buckets of blood and thumbs are going into eyeballs. It just seemed very gratuitous and just like
So let me ask you a question. When you think of Marvel and you think of superheroes, does Punisher fit that mold to you? Listen, I understand what an anti-hero is, okay? I get it. Not everybody has to be Superman or Captain America. Okay, but doesn't everybody who wears a costume or a cape or have the banner of Marvel heroes or something, don't they have to have some kind of like moral center? And doesn't that sort of stop short of poking people's eyeballs out?
well,
I
I
don't
think
know.
you're I well your answer. The Punisher does have a moral center.
Does he?
Yes.
So, but his moral center is somehow not.
It's a little bit skewed. Okay, you have Superman's moral center being way over here at the Boy Scout level. You have the Punisher who's still like, I'm going to help grandma across the street, but he's a little bit more rougher in his tactics. No, I mean, Superman will lightly push you into the jail cell. The Punisher may just kick you in the back. All right.
With knives on his shoes, so that he makes sure that he can puncture a lung while he's kicking you in the back.
The whole
Correct?
idea is that there's people aren't perfect. There's different levels, some nuance to the whole thing, and that's what the Punisher brings.
Jay, I get it. I really do. I don't want everybody to be. They know.
I
I
mean,
don't require.
certainly over these 13 episodes of The Punisher, they try to establish that he's willing to help out people who are down and out and need his assistance. But what it also says that if you come for him, he's going to respond with extreme prejudice. I think that's really this.
Right. So, do you think the Punisher and Captain America could sit down at a restaurant and have some shawarma together, and it would all be fine? What after they defeat like Thanos and all his minions in Infinity War?
Cap's going to be like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm reloading." Well, I think they're wounded. He goes, "Not wounded enough for my take, my
Yeah.
taste."
Yeah.
It's gonna. They're not going to be pals. Yeah, they're not going to work well together.
Okay.
He's like the Terminator with no protocols, with no. It's just like nothing. RoboCop with
Well, I got to tell you, it turns me off. It turns me off. I don't like it. This is not my idea of what I want to see in a superhero show. So it's just, it's the extreme level, I guess. I don't even know how you call him a hero, frankly, but okay.
Bill. We have a ton of stuff here. I've got a whole bunch of tabs up. I
Okay.
spoke with superfan Carlos and Melissa, superfan Melissa. Today's Super Bowl weekend, and it's
Mhm.
interesting that they listened to the last show, and part of it is this is the criticism that I got back or feedback. How about we call it feedback slash criticism? Either way, they were like, "We're looking forward to hearing this list of yours, but we were going too slow for them." We're like, number 12, you're an hour and a half in. Come on, speed it up. Number 9, we're going too slow. How do you feel about that?
You know how I feel about this. I'm pretty sure Melissa
Well,
and
moving
Carlos
on.
know how I feel
Moving
about
on. We're
it. So
going to talk about some things. I think the topic of the day is going to be guilty pleasures, movies that give guilty pleasures. I think I have 3 or 4 good ones. Very
okay.
excited about it.
I think I have 7 on my list, but I'm sure I could come
Yes.
up with more.
So
But we'll get to
I'll
that
leave it
later.
to you. I'm going to start off with some things. Do you want to start off with guilty pleasures?
I
Our
want to
main.
start off with what's going on your tabs.
Oh, okay. Well, here's one of my tabs. Netflix is fucking me by going and raising their prices.
Oh, wow, wow. How much are they raising the prices, Jay?
That's interesting since you don't pay.
Okay, true enough. True enough. But how much are they actually raising the prices?
It looks like it's gone up $5, 4 to
Per
five
month,
dollars
per year, what?
per month. It's now
$5?
13.99.
What was it before?
I don't know, but I guess with the tax break, I have an extra $1.50 in my check,
Well,
so that
it
might cover.
wasn't. It wasn't. It's not $5 because it was like 9. It was like 11.99.
So it's now 13.99.
Okay, so it's like $4, $3, whatever.
Did you take math?
No,
11.99,
I did not.
13.99.
So,
So Netflix is going up on their prices. Doesn't affect you.
if
I
you're
feel I get
going
a
to
lot out of Netflix.
right,
Um,
is it worth the extra $3 a month to you? Now, listen, it's probably going to go up another $3 next year, so you might as well just get used to it.
I pay for HBO now. I have Hulu free through Sprint. By the way, if you're a Sprint customer, you get Hulu through it for free. Um,
Most people would be like, it's not even worth it. I'd just rather, you know what? I'd rather just do Verizon. It's fine.
Am- Amazon, smartass. I guess at the end of the day, at one point in time, I was paying. I'm still paying for HBO now, but it was almost the same price as Netflix. I get a lot out of Netflix, so clearly the deal that they're giving me is still great. But like Amazon, with all these things, eventually the price has to go up. It's going to continue to go up, and um, but they're providing such good content.
Well, then that's the thing. You don't think all of this content is free, do you? I mean, you don't think all of these millions of shows they're investing millions of dollars in, or hundreds of shows they're investing millions of dollars in, don't cost a lot of money.
Yeah, this seems like some sort of like drug dealer plan. The whole idea is they start giving it to me at a low price, we all get hooked, and then they start raising up the price. And then we're like fiends, we can't let go.
Well, I think you've
So,
spent more
so
money
what
on
if
less
I
valuable
decided that
things.
Netflix is going to start coming down like the hammer and they said like no extra hanger-ons like you? Are you going to
Then
end up on Netflix?
it depends. Are they going to start making better shows? Okay. Because if Punisher is the level of quality I'm going to get, then maybe not.
Well, they're doing some other movies coming here. I think they're acquiring a movie from Paramount called God Particle.
That
Um,
is supposed to be Cloverfield 3.
yeah, isn't that
So,
exciting?
no, I didn't even like the first one.
Well,
Um,
I have to admit that that sounds very intriguing to me, and it may be out for April before April 20th.
did you watch Bright yet?
Yeah,
And you never mentioned it.
I saw what Netflix was saying about that, but it's their whole thing. People say a lot about it, like they don't like it, whatever else, but they're still watching it.
It's the highest. I think they said it's like the highest watched show in the whole network's history or
Yeah,
something.
and I feel like it's a pan, like the attack, or you will, or the response seems like a Donald Trump response. Very much, you're out of tune with what the masses are asking or wanting, the critics.
Okay.
Um, I don't think that's fair. I see what they're saying. I mean, I'm watching Bright, but it's like major movie entertainment, but instantly watching it on my Netflix. I mean, it's intriguing. It's Why would I not watch Bright?
Because it's a
Got
bad
Will
movie,
Smith,
apparently.
Joel Egerton. It's got some cool content. I
Well, a
don't
lot of
have
people
to.
don't think it's a good movie, though. I haven't seen it, so I don't know.
Yeah, but if it's available to me instantly on Netflix for my paltry $10, and the critics say it's bad, I'm still going to try it. It's not like I have to run the risk of going to a theater, buy some popcorn, and walk in and be upset. It's too many steps for me to take that risk for. But if I just have to sit down and fire up my TV while I'm fixing breakfast, of course, why would I not do that?
Because it isn't good
How many movies have you walked out of in the theater
in my life.
in your
Probably
life?
4 or 5,
4 or 5. And how many have you seen at the theater?
hundreds, I'm sure.
Yes. Netflix is different. If I'm sitting in my living room and I turn on something and in the first 8 minutes, I can just shut it off and just scroll down to the next section and turn on
You don't
something
think they can tell who shuts it off after 8 minutes and
Well,
who
yeah,
doesn't?
but in the theater though, that's a lot more. You've planned for that. You drove your little rust bucket over to the theater. You paid for some popcorn. You got into your seat. You're all ready to rock and roll. You paid your $12, and then the movie starts to suck. I mean, that whole experience is bad. You don't have that. There's no
Well,
risk. What I'm
yeah, the
saying.
risk is you're going to waste 2 hours of your life watching something that isn't any good. Still,
Yeah.
if it stinks, it stinks. Doesn't matter where you are. It's more convenient if you're at home, so you can just turn the channel or exit the app or whatever. But if it's not any good, I'm not going to sit and watch it just because it's on and it's cost $10 a month and it's part of my deal plan.
So you're not going to watch Bright? Is that what
I'm
you're
not
telling me?
saying I'm not going to watch it. I'm saying if I start it and I'm hating it halfway through, it's going to get cut off.
Which is great. It's so easy. There's no risk, Bill. So why would you not try it out? It's
It's
not
not
like I'm
about
telling
trying it
you
out. I
like
think
Bright's at the theater,
I don't
and
think
so
it's
that
about
means
trying it out. I think it's about watching the whole movie. I don't think that Netflix is telling people it's the highest watched show in the whole network history for people who are just watching it for 10 minutes.
listen, Netflix
Maybe.
is very secretive. Who knows what information they're doling out?
Okay.
I need more transparency from them, Bill.
Really? Do you? Here's transparent. We're giving you thousands of hours of entertainment value for $10 a month. Shut your bitchin' and turn off the app if you don't like what we're doing.
Shut your pie hole. So while Netflix is making strides and bringing God Particle to the screen, Cloverfield 3, and some other stuff, changing the game. I see that CBS has ordered new pilots for Magnum PI and Cagney and Lacey.
Huh. Maybe they'll make Cagney and Lacey like lesbos this time.
Were they not
Yes.
lesbos in
No.
the original Cagney and Lacey?
Well, I mean, it was kind of like an unspoken thing. I mean, they were. Listen, I don't want to be stereotypical. I'm sure we have maybe some lesbian listeners. I don't know, but I always thought they were lesbians. But it wasn't like they ever had sex or anything.
Oh, okay. Well, do you watch CBS? Do you have your CBS
I
subscription to
have the
CBS
CBS. I
All?
have a CBS subscription because I watch their daytime serial, The Bold and the Beautiful. That's about it.
See, this explains you. You're an old man. This is like the old fart channel. That's what CBS is. Old fart channel. I mean, they're doing 80s remakes of Magnum PI, Cagney and Lacey. It says they also ordered 13 episodes of Murphy Brown. I
Right.
mean, are they doing anything original over there? Are they just like they're just stuck? They're just stuck trying to
Am I
please
mistaken, or does Netflix have Full House and the One Day at a Time update?
the. You know what?
So, isn't everybody in Hollywood kind of guilty of this issue?
It seems
Even
like
Netflix.
yeah, it looks like CBS is doubling down on it. I mean,
Yeah,
did
you
you
know
watch
why?
Magnum PI? Did you
Because
watch
they're
Magnum PI?
I'm not gonna comment on why I watch Magnum PI, but there were some things that drew me to it. Yes.
That's so nasty. That's why the show is explicit. That's why it's explicit. And it also looks like did you CW did a new version of Dynasty? You watched that, didn't you?
I watched it for like 3 weeks. Yes.
Is that 3 episodes
Yeah, it
in
was like 3
3 weeks?
episodes. Yeah,
And
I was done.
okay. At least you gave it a shot. I could have told you it was going to be garbage, but hey, you gotta go over there and sniff that pile of shit yourself. So that's
Wow.
fine. You heard that CW is also doing a reboot of Charmed. You know how I feel about that.
I didn't like the original Charm, so I don't know why I would care about the new one. But yeah,
Do you remember Get Christy Love from the 70s?
no. Who the hell's that?
Okay, well, the ABC's picking that up. And
Was it a
obviously,
show?
yes, I
Really?
think it's a detective show. They're also doing Roseanne.
Well, I knew about Roseanne.
Yeah.
The
See, I
problem
don't
with
have,
Roseanne for
I
me
actually. Go-
is that
go ahead.
she's a Trump supporter. I'm already out.
What do you mean in real life on the show?
No, in real life, Roseanne
Oh, okay.
Arnold is a Trump supporter. So
Oh, well, there you go. Okay, so that means you're not going to watch the show because of that?
that's right. That's what it means.
Wow. Okay, that's kind of. I don't think well, I'm not even going to go there, but I do appreciate the fact that if they're going to be doing the show, they're bringing back the cast. I think that seems acceptable to me as opposed to like rebooting Roseanne and bringing somebody else to play her.
Well, the name of the show is Roseanne. It would be hard to reboot the show without calling it not Roseanne, without Roseanne.
Do you think Roseanne will be a hit?
I do. I think nostalgia is kind of big right now.
Do you think the original Roseanne played to all political parties? The original.
I think it was more of a, certainly a Democratic leaning, politically speaking show. I mean, it was about, a blue collar, lower middle class family. So,
Hmm. I'd be curious of how they're going to tackle all these things. I won't be watching the show though.
because
I
it's on a
find that
network television. That's why.
I know
That's the only
CBS,
reason.
NBC, they're just dead to me. Okay,
Well,
moving
you know
on.
what? When your ass was like 7 or 8 years old and you had 3 fucking channels and that was it, there was no other options before VCRs and you could go rent your spookies with your mom, then I bet your ass was singing a different tune. But now you're too damn good because you've got 400, 450 channels or whatever. So
Yeah,
yeah, now you've just turned your back. Talk about respecting your roots.
yeah. Speak to it, Bill. I got TVs in every room. I've got all sorts of content flowing in. Altered Carbon on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Watching movies. Ooh, I got Blade Runner downstairs on my DVD on a DVD. Two
Well, that's
hours and
good.
45 minutes.
Yeah, you and like 3 other people saw that movie, so that's good.
All right, my other this subject I put in here on one of the tabs because it really still burns my noodle. You saw that the comedian slash actress Monique, she called for a boycott against Netflix,
Yes.
accusing them Netflix of like I don't know what is it, gender and race based pay gaps.
Okay.
She was offered like $500,000 for her comedy special, and then Amy Schumer was reportedly offered, I believe, 11 million, but she negotiated it to 11 million, and Dave Chappelle got 20 million, and then Wanda Sykes was offered half, like $250,000. So she's very pissed, and she's like, "This shit needs to fucking change. We need to boycott Netflix." I've been doubling down on my Netflix.
Wow.
Well, this bothered me,
Why?
and I guess it bothered me because it assumes that somehow like some sort of middle of the road actress slash comedian is on the same level as somebody else, and therefore they should get paid. And I see a difference, and clearly, if somebody's doing the same job, you should get paid the same. But I think there's a difference between Amy Schumer and Monique. Amy Schumer is doing some sort of major movies. She was just out there with Goldie Hawn. She seems very popular. She may command a lot more. I
Amy
barely
Schumer is
see Monique.
employed and Monique is unemployed. That's the difference.
Oh, okay, well, yes. And so I find it was just like a bold stance to sit there and say that in light of the fact that
Why? Everybody, that's the thing that's going on right now, Jay. It's like that chick from E News that quit because she was getting paid less than the male host of the show. Okay, if you prefer unemployment to the paycheck you're getting, enjoy your freaking unemployment check.
well, I don't think it's the case. I mean, if I'm some sort of like new person out of college and I'm going to be sitting next to Matt Lauer, and Matt Lauer's been doing it for like 3 decades and has a following, I can't expect to be paid 20 million a year right out the gate, even though we're doing the same job.
Cry me a river with these bitches, okay? All they do is sit and talk and earn paychecks larger than you and me and probably everybody else we know. So their paycheck is smaller than somebody else's paycheck. It's still more than most people will ever see. So I really don't have that much sympathy for it.
Oh,
Really
you're
don't.
always back to if it's 100,000 or $500,000 more, then you should just be happy with it.
Oh,
Bill, they
I
have
only made
mortgages and cars.
150,000 and he made 300,000. How am I going to afford my Lexuses and all my other vehicles and my houses in Malibu? Okay.
It's called fairness. It's called fairness. There's integrity in here. Doesn't it? You cannot tell me I cannot show up and then have like you cannot have, let's say, give me two popular male actors.
Chris Hemsworth and um
Chris Hemsworth, Chris Pratt, Chris Evans.
okay, that's three. Okay.
Okay. You can't have Chris Evans show up on the movie set. They're all going to be doing a movie called The Three Amigos. And then find out that Chris Evans is getting paid 25 million and they're going to pay Chris Pratt and Chris Hemsworth 100,000 apiece. They're not going to accept it and it doesn't seem right. Explain to me why. And it's not going to be, oh, thanks for the studios for giving me Chris Pratt 100,000. I should be very happy with it. It's good to see that Evans is getting 20 million. I mean, I just had 3 hit movies. That shit, whatever you want to pay me is sufficient. It's not fair, Bill. It doesn't seem fair to me.
Oh, oh, not fair. Take my box and go home because it's not fair. Okay. Then, go over there and do some shit on, Netflix where they're going to pay you one third of the cost we were going to pay you and, enjoy the rest of your career basking in obscurity.
This is why we don't put you as the face of the company because
I mean, I'm just saying. Fair. I have, again, I don't, it's up to your agent. If your agent can't negotiate you a higher price, get a better agent. Okay.
okay, I agree with that. I mean, I remember that Tom Cruise, no, it was that Mark Wahlberg thing, where he had in his contract that if you needed to do reshoots, pay me 1.5 million, and the one actress did it for free.
Right.
I mean, those things I understand negotiating, but just out of the
Jay, whoever told you, and I'm sure no one ever did, and I'm sure this is kind of a rhetorical question. Whoever said life was fair?
yeah, I know.
Whoever said the world owes anybody anything?
I do like that saying that Stephen A. Smith says, "A fair is some place where they judge pigs."
Yeah, okay. It's not about fair. It's about being able to negotiate what you feel like you're worth and being able to deal with maybe people thinking you're not worth as much as you think you are until you can get into a place of higher negotiation power. Then
I
you
will
gotta suck it up.
say that there's probably is some sort of gender, race-based pay gap discrimination. I just don't see it from my end with the Monique versus Amy
Why?
Schumer,
She's
Dave
gender and
Chappelle.
race based minority. Wouldn't you think that you would see it from her perspective for those reasons?
No, I don't see it because Monique hasn't really been doing shit.
She was an Oscar. Didn't she win an Oscar?
Yeah, you're talking like for Precious back when.
Okay.
When was the
How many
Precious movie?
Oscars do you have? It's more than anybody else. I don't know anybody that
Bill,
has an
this is
Oscar. The
all
bitch has
about
an Oscar.
this is all what have you done for me lately? Okay? That movie was damn near 2009. How long has she been writing on those coattails?
7 years, 8 years, whatever.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sorry. What specials have you done?
I'm just saying. I mean,
Mo,
she.
trust
The
me.
reason
You
why
have
Monique.
right now. You have somebody that's popular like Kevin Hart. Okay. If Netflix came to Kevin Hart and said, "We're going to give you 15 million or 20 million, like Dave Chappelle," you would sit there and go, "Okay, well, Kevin Hart's doing a lot of movies. He's got Jumanji. He keeps making hits left after right. He's popular. He's at the top of the game right now, bringing in cash for everyone." Monique can't look at it and be like this. Kevin Hart's getting 20 million and they offered me half a million. What the fuck is Monique doing?
She can look at it however she wants. If she doesn't feel like they're paying
Oh,
her
she
what
can
she
look at it, but I'm
deserves.
not boycotting Netflix over it.
Well, okay.
I need a stronger person on the level of Kevin Hart for me to sit there and be like, "Oh, that doesn't seem right." That doesn't, I don't know who that comparison would be, but it's not Monique
So
at
the
this
fact
point.
that I don't know what's her name, Lupita Nyong'o is making like 1/15 of the salary of Chadwick Boseman for Black Panther. That doesn't get under your craw.
How much is she making under a
I
new
don't
film?
know. Maybe let's say a third, a fourth.
Oh, Chadwick Boseman has been in a lot of movies, Bill. So
Here we
he's a
go.
lead
Okay.
actor.
Right.
You can parse it out. I'm just saying there's nuances. It's not always apples to apples, and there's a lot of variables that go into it. A lot of variables.
Right.
Um,
Like if you've pissed off big wigs in Hollywood like Lee Daniels and Oprah Winfrey, you should be grateful that anyone will even take a meeting with you instead of complaining about the fact that you're not making as much money as the next person.
Let me tell you her filmography. She did Precious in 2009. Her next movie was Blackbird in 2014.
Okay.
She did a Love and Hip Hop special in 2014. There
That's
was a
because she pissed off big names,
yeah,
people
I
who she
understand
shouldn't
that.
have pissed off.
Right. So you have this whole hiatus from the whole set, and then you're coming out of the gate going, "I need to be paid as much, if not more." It seems a little bit delusional. Delusional.
Let's move on.
Okay, all right. I'm just saying it's kind of embarrassing. All right, we're moving on. Hold on. All right. We got a lot of things over here, a lot of clicking. Um, Here we go. Slash film. Did you see that there is confirmed that there's going to be a Don't Breathe 2? This will be a quick hitter.
No, I didn't. What's.
Stephen Ling said that there's going to be a sequel, and
Oh,
Billy
right. The
Alvarez.
blind guy.
Yeah, they're going
Right.
to do another one because I like that kind of slash thriller horror
Isn't
movie
that
genre.
A Blumhouse production?
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah.
It cost like 10 million. It made like 170 million.
Right. No, duh. There's going to be a sequel. Really, I'm shocked.
But I heard, but they gave me, I talk about the hyperbole with some of this stuff, but they said things like, this is going to be the greatest sequel ever. We have such a good script for where we're going to go with this. And I'm like, I'm drinking the Kool Aid. I'm like, oh, okay,
Well,
that
yeah,
sounds
because you
nice.
like the first one. So,
Right. But technically, you're just sitting there. I'm like, I don't know where they could really go with this. It seems like I'd have to go down some sort of like cornball alley lane, travel some sort of ridiculous route. But I'm still willing to accept what they're dishing out. Are you a fan of the Purge movies?
I'm not.
Okay, well, we have the first Purge coming on July 4th, 2018.
What do you mean, first purge? Is this like a prequel?
Yeah, it sounds like it's called the first Purge, so I'm assuming it's like a prequel. There's a teaser trailer out for like 30 seconds out there.
Okay.
Love the movie.
Again, 5 million is going to make 200 million. So,
Okay,
no
well, we'll
doubt
see
they're
about
making a
that.
sequel, a
I
third or
see that
fourth sequel.
your boy M Night has screened some glass footage and
Yeah, that's kind of old news, but yeah,
some people are very happy about that.
yeah. I think he only screened like 12 minutes, and he said it was for studio executives. So I hope they're happy.
Okay.
We've got a whole nother year to wait for this movie. So,
All right. How do you feel about Jumanji targeting a 2019 release? Cocky motherfuckers are going up against episode 9.
well, the movie's made. I think they're going to make. They're predicting $950 million worldwide. So they're feeling themselves as
Yeah.
they should for that kind of money.
Yeah.
It, I'm not too worried about Star Wars. I think it's ballsy of them to go up against it. But right now, Star Wars is kind of in a weakened state than it was after The Force Awakens because there's a lot of controversy surrounding The Last Jedi, and a lot of people didn't like it. So maybe they're feeling like Star Wars is somewhat vulnerable, and they're going to go ahead and try to go up against them. I makes me a little bit sad, but it had to
A
happen
Sony
eventually.
a Sony exec is quoted as saying, um, he was unperturbed about releasing Jumanji like a week after The Last Jedi. The quote is, from early on looking at the footage, it was clear that it was a Christmas movie families would want to see together. I thought we could spit in the giant's eye. Ooh, I like that. I
Is
like
that what he
that.
said? That's his full quote.
Yeah, yeah, I like that.
Okay.
Ballsy. Spit in the giant's eye.
Well, okay.
I like it.
You can't argue with $950 million. So
No, you can't. No, you can't. I would have thought it was foolhardy. I would stay as far away from Star Wars or certain other things. I just wouldn't do it. Why risk it?
well, because if you take high risks, sometimes you get high rewards, which is what happened for them. So
Yeah, okay. All right. Well, fair enough. The Rock is today since this is Super Bowl, we're going to be getting a lot of trailers popping out.
there's a whole lot. There's not a whole lot I really am interested in seeing. There's 45 minutes of the Han Solo trailer that'll be released fully tomorrow morning. So I think or 45 seconds, I mean. So I think I'll just wait.
Only 45 seconds?
Yeah, well, the whole thing's only like an hour or a minute and a half. So it's like half of the trailer. Why would I watch half the trailer? It's so fucking dumb.
Oh, so we're going to get a minute and a half trailer on Monday.
Right, tomorrow.
Okay. Well, I wonder if I'm watching the Super Bowl tonight, which I will be. I'll probably end up seeing the 45 seconds. So
You can cover your eyes.
I'm not going to be doing that. I'm
Okay.
not going to be doing that. I want to see this so I can text you immediately and be like, "This is some bullshit."
I don't know why you can't just walk out of the room and go to the bathroom or something.
You see that our boy The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, has also another trailer coming out. This man is working so hard. I mean, he's got like a million movies coming out.
Right. Again, I don't know if I'm saying working hard. I mean, they stand on a set, they say 10 lines, and then they go home.
You're just a hater.
I'm not a hater. I'm just
You're a
saying
hater.
it's not exactly hard work at the level that he's playing at.
Oh, that's so disrespectful. That's just so disrespectful.
I'm just saying, I'll trade him,
They're
for my
hours on the set. They're tired. They've got to read lines. You see
most
Christian
of the
Bale?
time
You
they
see that
spend.
Christian Bale, how angry he got when he was trying to like hone his craft and somebody was in the back eating a Subway sandwich, how he chewed them out?
Have
I
you ever
mean,
been on a movie set or a TV show set?
I have not.
Well, as someone who has, I can tell you that there's a whole lot of this sitting around and playing on their phones or reading a book or talking with other cast members as they stand around waiting for setups and then waiting for stand-ins and then waiting for lighting people to come in. They probably get like 2 or 3 pages done a day, which is why it
You know
takes
what,
them so
Bill?
fucking long to film
Sometimes
movies.
doing nothing can be very exhausting.
Oh, tell me about it.
My dogs have
I
been
make a fucking
sleeping.
habit out of it.
Scooties and Fergus have been downstairs. They're like this. Oh God, we've been sleeping for 18 hours. I'm still tired. Is it time for bed? Yep. And they'll sleep for another 7 more. Don't tell me.
I know. I hear you.
All right, let's move on to the Oscars.
Do we
Melissa
have
will
to?
be happy that we'll talk about something that seems to be of interest for her. We briefly discussed this before. They're changing around. What is it? Price Waterhouse is changing around their rules so to make sure they don't fuck up the envelopes again.
How hard is it? Pay somebody to stand there with the suitcase and don't get on their phones.
I mean, so they replaced those two other people who have been doing it for years. They've got two new people coming in, Rick Rosas and Kimberly Berdoon. Anyway, a new formal procedure is in place when the envelopes are handed over. Both the celebrity presenter and a stage manager will confirm that they've been given the correct envelope for the category they're about to present. All three balloting partners will attend show rehearsals and practice what to do if something goes wrong. They're doing a lot of what ifs.
Well, yeah, because last year was a major fuck up. So they don't want to go through that again.
The addition of a third balloting partner will sit with the Oscar producers in the show's control room. Just like the balloting partner stationed on either side of the Dolby Theater stage, this person will have a complete set of winners' envelopes and commit the winners to memory. Think of it as safety control.
Well, I mean, whatever it takes, as long as they can get the fucking right envelope on the stage at the right time.
Yeah.
Okay, they're being paid a lot of money to get it right.
All right. So, we don't really go over the Oscars too much, but let's see here. We've got our Oscar nominees. It's out. Best Picture, Call Me by Your Name, Darkest Hour, Dunkirk, Get Out, Lady Bird, Phantom Thread, The Post, The Shape of Water, Three Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri.
I think
Anything
that movie
stand
should
out
be
to you?
disqualified
Anything
just based on its title alone. That's just a ridiculous title.
that sounds just like an indie film?
Yeah. The only movie on that list that I am interested in I haven't seen any of them, by the way. The only one I'm remotely interested in actually seeing is
You
The Shape
saw
of
Get
Water.
Out. You saw Get Out.
Oh, okay. I forgot. Yes, I'm sorry. I did see Get Out. I tried to remember. I tried to forget seeing Get Out, but I did see it. Then the only other one on the list I want to see is The Shape of Water. So
Okay. All right. You're not going to be interested in The Post, Steven Spielberg?
no, that's not the Steven Spielberg that I'm interested in.
Okay. Daniel Day Lewis, Last Acting, Phantom Thread,
Don't care.
Dunkirk,
Nope.
your boy. Okay. All right. Gary Oldman, Darkest Hour?
Uh-uh.
Call Me by Your Name. You're gay. You got to watch Call Me by Your Name.
I have issues with that movie, so
I'll be watching that movie.
Of course you will.
I've added Three Billboards also. Um, I don't think I'll be watching The Phantom Thread, believe it or not.
Why?
I have respect for Daniel Day Lewis, but I just seem like it's just too fucking boring for me and too slow. I can't.
Okay.
I'm just not. I'm not going to be doing it. We've got lead actors Timothy Chalamet, Daniel Day Lewis, Daniel Kaluuya, Gary Oldman, Denzel Washington,
What's Denzel nominated for?
Roman J. Israel Esquire. Looks good to me.
It's like Jerome A. Payne, Esquire.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I
Maybe
kind of
one
like
day.
that. What's that?
Maybe one day Denzel can play you.
There's a movie that supporting actor William Defoe. He's in something called The Florida Project. I watched the trailer where it's essentially where some people are, I think, living down in like by Disney World and motels and hotels, just trying to survive, and how the kids just kind of hang out all day, and
Oh,
it's a
that
slice.
sounds uplifting.
Right. No, I was not going to watch it because I have it's one of those feelings where you're just kind of watching people, and it's just uncomfortable if it's a life that you don't live or don't understand. But I thought about it some more, and I decided I'll give it a shot.
Okay.
Um, I'm hope I won't be one of those things I walk away and be like, this just makes me feel depressed.
Well, if it's about people who are living motel to motel, do you think it's going to make you feel good?
Okay. Adapted screenplay, just as a shout out for you, Logan.
Why is it for me? I thought you liked Logan as well.
I did like Logan.
I mean, it's history making. It's the first superhero movie that's been acknowledged with a screenplay nomination. So perhaps it'll knock a couple doors down as far as the future possibilities go. I heard they're already discussing. Now, we can discuss the merits of this later, but Black Panther has already been bandied about as what if it's, of course they said the same thing about Logan and it only got the screenplay, but at least it got a screenplay. So, and I thought it was well deserved as a nomination. So that's what I
Yeah.
am actually happy about.
The thing about the Oscars I like with some of the things that they nominate, for me, it's things that I might have missed that I would think about adding to my queue.
Of course, because you're a sheep.
Best
And it's
foreign language films, those are always good to add to your list of movies to watch.
really. How many foreign language films did you watch last year?
I don't really keep track of it, but I watch. They come straight to they're on Netflix instant watching, and I get the. I don't have a problem watching movies with subtitles, Bill. Don't have a problem with that.
Well,
And you
Whoa,
have
whoa,
to
whoa, whoa,
watch
whoa.
them with the subtitles. You can't have them do something where somebody else is like speaking the language, the English dubbing. You can't do that.
Why?
Cannot, because it's something that doesn't add up. You need to hear the real people's voice, the actor himself. Even though he's not speaking English, you need to see the inflection, the tone. Things are lost when you're dubbing it. Things are lost.
Okay.
Um, there you have it for the Oscars.
Say what now?
Any thoughts on that? Will you be watching it?
I will not. There's
And it's,
only necessarily three things that I'm, applauding, and I don't think, that they're really going to get much. I mean, obviously, The Last Jedi was nominated for visual effects. John Williams was nominated for score. Those are exciting. The Logan screenplay nomination's exciting. Outside of that, I don't really want to watch a 3.5 hour show for three awards that may not even be given to the movies I want. So I'm taking my blocks. Yes, children, I'm taking my blocks and I'm going to take them home on Oscar night. Yes, I'm being a big patty baby about it, and I don't really have a problem with it.
all right. All right. It's time. We're at the hour mark, and it's time for us to discuss guilty pleasures.
Okay.
Do you know what the definition of guilty pleasure is?
Well, I know what your definition of guilty pleasure is, so why don't you tell me?
All right. Well,
Tell everyone
I'm
else.
going to give you the dictionary definition. I'm not
Okay.
going to just spit out and use marble mouth and say something else. Something such as a movie, television program, or a piece of music that one enjoys despite feeling that it's not generally held in high regard.
Okay.
Example, everybody has a guilty pleasure. For me, it has to be mid 70s disco.
As in the music?
I'm reading the
You're reading the.
example from
Okay,
the
this is still the
dictionary.
definition. Okay, gotcha.
Myself being, what do you do? So,
Yes.
you're not a regular human. You're some sort of Terminator from other time. So, of course, there's no such thing as guilty pleasure in your head because if you love it, you love it.
Look, I
You
have
don't,
the issue.
there's no shame in loving your stuff. You wear it
That's
with
right. I have an issue with the word guilty. I am not guilty. I do enjoy pleasures, as everyone else does, but I'm not particularly guilty about them.
this is why this category doesn't work for you. This is why you need normal people on the show who can be like, this, oh yes, yeah, yeah.
I can't do normal people. I can just do me.
Okay. How are you going to play the guilty pleasure game then, Bill?
Well, I mean, I'll play it by the definition. That's fine. If it's something that other people consider to be not valuable or enjoyable, but I enjoy it anyway, then I mean,
How many movies do you have on your list?
I have 7. Actually, 8 if you count. Yeah,
Is
there's
there
8.
there should be one movie on there that I believe is a guilty pleasure for you. I wonder if you will have it on there. Is
I'm
it
sure I
any?
know what you're gonna say. It's so like obvious.
Okay, but it's on there though, right?
Of course.
Meow, meow.
Well, you know what? You're about to get the male equivalent of Catwoman in about 2 weeks. So when I look at you and be like, I don't see the difference between this and Catwoman, then you can just haul off and smack me. It's
That's
fine.
the problem. That is absolutely the problem. I was
Is
talking before we get distracted. I was talking with superfan Carlos, and he was getting very upset. I think listening to the last podcast, he's watching The Man in the High Castle right
hmm
now,
hmm
and he's like he's enjoying himself, but he's a little bit bothered by the low production value. He said like a boom mic came into the screen. He's like he didn't have like the nerve just even edit it out or reshoot the scene. But he loves the writing of it makes him stay wants to stay. And then I
Sure.
said it's really good. You just have to kind of push past that. And he wanted me to explain to you that some of these shows you need quality writing, and some of the movies are just there's just not quality writing out there
I
anymore.
think quality writing is in the eye of the beholder. And I think that there's no one definition that is the same for everyone across the board. So I understand that, you know, you might not feel it's quality, but the next person might.
All right. I'm going to start off with my first guilty pleasure, Bill.
Okay.
Battlefield Earth.
Oh, wow, you just
Starring
went for the
John
jugular.
Travolta and Forrest Whitaker.
Oh, I think that might have been one of the 5 movies I walked out of.
I mean, I think from what I'm reading, it's based on a book from what's his name, the guy who founded Scientology, whatever
L. Ron
else.
Hubbard.
Yeah, so the aliens take over humanity, and one of the humans tries to rise up, but John Travolta's playing some like 9 foot tall alien. I think they were called like cyclones or psychosis. They're from a planet. Either way, when that stuff is on, I watch it all the time. It's so good for me. And I know it's so bad, but it's just so good.
You know what? My opinion about it doesn't matter because this is not my list.
Yeah,
But
you walked out of Battlefield Earth, or
I think I might have. I think I might have. Either that or I fell asleep. It was one of the two. I know I didn't make it to the end.
I mean, it's ridiculous when they're walking around in a giant platform boots
And the
and
dreadlocks. The dreadlocks are my favorite. I've always wanted to see John Travolta in dreadlocks, and until that movie, that wish wasn't going to come true.
this is just the right amount of cheese for me. I mean, I lap up Battlefield Earth. I'm sorry. I do everything that happens in there where they're trying to backstab one another, they're training the humans to be sheep, all sorts of things. I don't know
Well,
where to
that
start.
explains why you like it.
What's that?
Them training humans to be sheep, that explains it. Those are your peeps.
Yeah, that movie was in 2000. Can't go wrong with Battlefield Earth. On television, I'll watch it.
Well, here's my recollection of Battlefield Earth. I was at the time, excited. Well, I still am, but summer movie season has always been like a big thing I look forward to every summer, every May. And we had just moved into this house, and I remember thinking Battlefield Earth was like the first summer movie release. And I remember I think I went on opening night because I was so excited. I was like, oh, this is going to be a big sci-fi extravaganza. It's the, opening salvo for the summer movie season. Let me go down there and get my ticket, get my popcorn and my pop, and be like, oh, let's see what this is about. Well, it didn't exactly turn out the way I imagined. Let's put it that way.
Let me tell you, not that Rotten Tomatoes is some sort of end all be all. It's 3%. It's got 148 critic reviews, 144 are rotten, and 4 are fresh. I can tell you
So,
right now,
this is one of
I'm
the Freaky Friday things for you and me because usually when it's rotten, you're on the rotten bandwagon and I'm on the fresh bandwagon.
yeah. The critical consensus: ugly, campy, and poorly acted. Battlefield Earth is stunningly misguided, aggressively bad sci-fi folly.
All
Whatever.
I can tell you is that it was just, I thought it was just awful. I mean, I'm not trying to piss on your list. I'm just saying, I just
Oh
didn't
no,
care.
no, it's fine. It's fine. I watch it. Now I wouldn't buy the DVD or the Blu-ray or
Why?
whatever.
If it's such a pleasure, guilty or otherwise, why not just put? Would you buy the digital version, whatever? If
No,
Netflix or
I think that
Vudu or Hulu
you
or
know,
whatever.
well, I have some sort of like I see the faults in the movie, but it's one of those things that I turn on. What is it like Spike Television,
That's not even a
AMC?
network anymore, by the way.
Okay, whatever. That's the concept. It's TNT movie or station for guys who want movies or guys who like movies. It's one of those things that when you flip through channels and you see it, you stop and you watch it. And I stop and watch it. It doesn't mean I think it's some sort of like high art or directed
Well,
well or
it
acted.
doesn't need to be for you to
It's
own it,
just
does it?
it,
Why
well
would it need to be
for
high
me,
art for you to own it?
I need to I need to feel like it's technically sound and it does a lot of things well. I
Oh,
just it's just entertaining. It's just
how
one of
about
those
it
things.
just entertained you? I mean, why does it have to be for you to own it? Why does it have to be considered own worthy by the hoi polloi? If you like it and it gets you, get your blood pumping, then why isn't that enough for you
My
to put it in
collection turns into a collection of ragamuffins like yours.
your
Okay,
Wow.
it's just some
Wow.
sort of like misfit island of toys. I just don't know about that. I can't. I can't.
So, and rather than own a lot of things that give you pleasure just because they give you pleasure and just looking that gift horse in the mouth, you want to have some kind of like, um, what's the word I'm looking for? Collection that is like somehow considered to be amongst the masses, who, by the way, are never going to see this collection because they're not going to come in your house and judge you on it. Um, you'd rather have it be something that's
You know,
considered.
when I pass on into the afterlife, my collection will pass on down to my nephews, and I want them to open it up and be like, "Oh, Uncle Jay had such great taste in movies. Look at these things. They're classics. They're
They're
so
not going to do
good."
that. They're going to be like that old batty ass old man collected all this shit. How much we get this on eBay 2000 or whatever the thing is at the time? Okay,
They're
that's
gonna be like,
exactly what's going to happen to your comic collection, by the way. Hope you're not under no delusions.
"All
Okay,
right, what's your movie?"
Grease 2. It's not a
Ooh,
guilty, it's just a pleasure. I personally prefer Grease 2 over Grease 1. I know that this is considered some kind of heresy, and that's fine with me. I don't mind people saying that. But I don't like Grease, and I never understood the appeal of Grease. But when I saw Grease 2, that's when I knew I was gay as all get out. Okay? Because I fell in love with Maxwell Caulfield, who was the new,
John
you know,
Travolta.
yeah, the new John Travolta. The songs I could not get out of my head. And I probably watched it was on HBO that summer when I first saw it. It was like the summer of 1982 or 3. And remember when you used to get the cable guides in the mail and it used to tell you exactly like every day and time the movie was on? I would make sure my ass was in because this is a pre VCR. My ass was planted in front of that TV like every time it was on that whole summer. So
Hmm.
I was obsessed. Grease 2 was probably my first like outside of like Star Wars, my first conscious like movie obsession outside of Star Wars.
Um, I like Grease too.
Okay, that's cool.
I never watched the original Grease.
Wow.
Never been interested in watching the original Grease with John Travolta.
Okay.
I did turn on Grease 2, and for what it was worth, I thought it was a cooler story, and I always thought it was seemed fresher for me than the original Grease. And I know it was campy and it was all get out, but I liked it.
Yeah, it's
I
the movie that
enjoyed
made
it.
me fall in love with
It's
movie
one of those.
musicals.
It's one of the few musicals back in '82, or probably when I saw it '83 or whatever else that I did enjoy. I'm not ashamed to say that. This is what it's 32% on Rotten Tomatoes. The critical consensus: Grease 2 is a undeniably stocked with solid songs and well choreographed dance sequences. But there's no getting around the fact that it's a blatant retread of its far more entertaining predecessor. I disagree, but I never saw its predecessor.
Well, I don't know if I've actually seen Grease 1. I think I have actually seen Grease 1 through to the end. Um,
Go Grease.
but
Grease Lightning.
Yeah, no. Give me Score Tonight and Man for All Seasons and
Man, I
Cool
remember that
Rider.
song. I remember that song.
Yeah,
Man for All Seasons, Michelle Pfeiffer.
Cool Rider. Um, these are the songs that stick in my head and make me remember that era of movies. And not to mention the fact it's Michelle Pfeiffer's first film.
See,
I
you know
mean,
what? I wouldn't put it down as a guilty pleasure for me, but one of those things again, if you walked over and you came into your house and I saw somebody had Grease 2 on their shelf, I have to be like, Grease 2 on your shelf, huh?
right.
You might be gay.
I don't know if gay. I don't know if you need to be gay to like Grease too, but maybe you just are a fan of.
I like Grease too, but I don't. It would be in my collection. I can tell you that right now.
Right. Oh, that's what I was trying to think of. The word curated. You want a curated collection. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. My second movie. Where do I want to go with this? I'm gonna go with Independence Day.
Oh,
Um, Will Smith, his name from um, Jurassic Park or The Fly. Jeff Goldblum,
right.
Bill
Data.
Pullman. Anyway, everybody should know Independence Day. We just did actually a sequel to that. That was 1996. I
Wow.
find it to be a lot of fun. It's just it's something that would flies into the face of everything I always talk to you about, those cheesy one-liners, the corniness, the big giant gap holes, the president who always says the Confucius one-liners that we will not be defeated. All the things. But I just find it to be entertaining, Bill. I mean,
Well,
they that was a time where they blew up the White House. It was good special effects. I mean, this is the opening. This is like Will Smith's rising to the height of his powers. Um, Unfortunately, I guess I don't know if I can really call it truly a guilty pleasure because it's got a 62% on Rotten Tomatoes. Quote, the plot is thin and so is character development. But as a thrilling, spectacle filled summer movie, Independence Day delivers. It delivers for me too.
well, I mean, you don't necessarily need to hear this, but it doesn't do anything for me. And I remember when I first saw this movie, again, it was one of those first movies of the summer, or it might have been like the 4th of July. Anyway, it was a summer
Yeah.
movie. And obviously, because it's called Independence Day, Dorf. Um, but I thought it was just a horrible ripoff of Star Wars. And
Oh,
it
really?
really pissed me off. So I told you didn't need to hear it, but I mean,
How is this a ripoff of Star Wars? Just because it's
sci-fi,
aliens?
band of merry ruffians coming from the underground to rise up and save the world. The idea, the general story structure, the hero's journey, the coming together of the group of, misfits, that kind of thing.
I don't know. It seems kind of thin, but that's fine. It didn't
Yeah,
speak
like
to
the
you.
plot of the movie seemed kind of thin.
The
But
character is kind of thin. That's okay. Okay. All right. All right.
all right,
That's fine. It's in my collection, by the way.
right. So how do you explain that when people come over? Oh, because it's not a guilty pleasure because it's so beloved by a generation.
Oh no, I don't know if it's. I'm looking at this now for the first time. I didn't know that, but I know that Independence Day is something that seems very a slop fest, but I enjoy it nonetheless.
Sure.
What's yours?
My next one is we're gonna go with the original Fantastic Four and the sequel, Fantastic Four 2, Rise of the
Oh,
Silver Surfer.
oh boy. Oh
Um,
boy.
I just thought they were just fun with a capital F. They, were effects extravaganzas, but also there was a lot of heart to them with the whole family. It was sort of going against the grain of what was popular at the time with the Dark Knight trilogy. Actually, it was right. The first one was before the Dark Knight trilogy, the Batman Begins movie. The second one, I think, came out the same year as the Dark Knight, maybe the year before. But I just thought that they were just, highly enjoyable films.
If any
about a
movie,
family of superheroes that, didn't necessarily pretend to be dark and gloomy and, um, nobody smiles or laughs or has a
oh,
good time
oh
with it.
yeah, they just seem to be buffoons. That's what they were doing. They
Well,
were they were engaging in buffoonery, Bill.
they really weren't. They kind of saved the world from like the Galactus cloud, which, by the way, I never
Th-
had a problem
Is
with.
this also where they shot a scene where the Thing, and my favorite Michael Chiklis from The Shield, was arguing with Human Torch over a car in front of like people in the thing, and then he balled up his car and then threw it
Yes.
like in the middle of like
Yes, this was
the
on the
city
bridge, the
streets,
Brooklyn Bridge,
while
maybe.
everybody's just watching like this is going on. Like, you big orange dummy, you're a hothead. This was good. This is entertainment, huh? This
Yes.
is
I was highly entertained. It still remains one of my favorite comic book
oh,
superhero movies.
this is the type of movie that sinks the industry. This is like Robin and Batman and Robin movie. Here's what it 27% on Rotten Tomatoes. Critics consensus marred by goofy attempts at wit, subpar acting, and bland storytelling. Fantastic Four is a mediocre attempt to bring Marvel's oldest superhero team to the big screen.
I had a blast with it. I thought everybody in it was very well cast. I mean, you've got Julian, is it McMahon as Doctor Doom? Um, Chris Evans, before he was Captain America, was the Invisible Man. Johnny Storm. Michael Chiklis was great as the Thing, I think.
37% for Fantastic Four Rise of the Silver Surfer. Critical consensus, while an improvement on its predecessor, Fantastic Four Rises of the Silver Surfer is nevertheless a juvenile, simplistic picture that has little benefit beyond its special effects. Is it in your collection?
They're both in my collection. In fact, I own
Um,
the extended version of the first Fantastic Four because it adds like 5 minutes of footage back into the film. And not only that, but they've never released that particular version on Blu-ray, so they only have it on DVD. And so that's one of the few DVDs I remain in heavy rotation on my shelf.
yeah, if you had a shame gene in your body, you should. All right, my number 3 movie, Roadhouse.
I've never seen it.
Patrick Swayze,
Right
1989.
now, is
I,
it sort of like a Big Trouble in Little China thing? Is that why you enjoy it? It's just like fun, low
no,
rent but fun.
because this is what we like. What was that like, Valerian? This is like pre-Valerian. This is back in the day where you watch it and it's so magnetic because it's so ridiculous but so serious. I mean, Patrick Swayze plays this like bouncer. He's a cooler. And like he's like the most famous cooler in the world. And like bars and podunk towns call him up and be like, "Hey, listen, my bar's out of control. I got a bunch of ruffians. It's called the Double Deuce. We need you to come down here and set it straight because you're like the best cooler in the country."
What is a cooler?
A cooler. He's like, well, he cools the place down, Bill. He's like a person that
Is
comes
it
in
like
and
a bouncer only?
manages the area. So, when you have shootings at your club and fights, he comes in and sets things straight.
So he's kind of like a bouncer.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. But this is a bouncer who's got like, he's martial. He's, what is it? I'm sorry. Um, he knows martial arts.
Hmm.
He also has a philosophy degree. He's like a learned individual. And, he's
And he's
rich.
played by Patrick Swayze.
Yes, yes. He's like the ultimate male. He knows karate. He's also very intelligent. He reads like Nietzsche. It's everything all thrown in the pot. But yet he's like, I'm gonna pull up and I'm gonna go to this bar and I'm gonna set these guys straight in this backwater town down in Tennessee or whatever the place is taking place in Texas.
Okay.
It's so fucking ridiculous. It's like the what do you call that superhero term? The Mary Sue, like the
Yeah.
perfect character, all the traits, everything like the best pilot ever, top of the class. You know, this is what you're doing.
And he's played by Pat. See, that seems against type for Patrick Swayze to me, but okay.
Wait, what's
Maybe
that?
that's why it works. Say
What
what?
did you say? What did you
I
say
said
about Patrick?
it seems against type to me. Like he always seemed like the kind of like blue collar guy who was like your average guy, not necessarily super intelligent, but always had some kind of charisma and then chemistry. So that's why he sort of got away with being sort of a rogue, sort of like a Han Solo kind of thing. Is how always saw Patrick Swayze.
The movie is just so dumb. It's good.
Well, there you go.
So
Now is
it's
it in your
so fucking
collection?
ridiculous. You know what? I'm sorry. I got to look it up. I got to look it up on Rotten Tomatoes here. I don't think anybody can not like this movie. Oh,
I've never seen it, so I can't. I'm not. I really have no input on that.
it's not something you would watch. Then is what you're telling me.
It's really probably not.
Stars Patrick Swayze.
Yeah. Well, I never really thought he was all that great looking anyway.
Oh wow, that's okay. Well, Rotten Tomatoes gives it 38%.
Okay.
Well, whatever. I can't pull up the reviews on it here. Let's see if I can
What?
find it. Anyway, what's your what do you have?
My next movie is going to be Batman and Robin. Um, say what you will about it. It's campy.
Is
It's
this George Clooney?
This is George Clooney. This is the man who blames himself for destroying the original Batman franchise. I
Joel
disagree.
Schumacher?
Yeah.
Joel Schumacher?
Yes. Now, I will admit, when I first saw the movie, I wasn't a fan because I was used to the Tim Burton sort of aesthetic. But over the years, having rewatched it several times, it did grow on me, and I started to appreciate the campy level of it with the bat nipples and everything. Um, and then I sort of realized what he was really trying to do was give you a flavor of the 66 Batman TV series, which for me, when I go back and watch, doesn't
Yes,
really
because
hold up.
that's what everybody was clamoring for. That's what we needed to
Well,
go back. Everybody was asking for that.
well, that's what they got because they hired the man for something, and it was to move away from the Tim Burton gloom and doom sort of darkness for darkness's sake, which again is something that they're still struggling with over at DC decades later.
And then
Um,
Ron all the way to the other end.
So yes, as far as that goes, yeah, they were trying to go the opposite of the Tim Burton direction, and that's what they got. So, but within all of that, there is a lot of stuff that's really great about Batman and Robin. The fact that it moves Batman away from being sort of like the loner, darkness, no parents, one step away from fucking suicidal superhero to Batman. It's kind of like Batman gets a family and learns how to love for me. And it shows character growth for me from where he starts to where he ends in that series. And at the same time, it's colorful, which is something that you certainly couldn't accuse really Tim Burton's versions of being, which I do love Batman Returns. I don't dislike the original Batman. It doesn't hold up for me as well as Batman Returns. But it's certainly a choice. It is certainly a style, and it's certainly not for everybody. But I enjoy rewatching that movie, and as you know, rewatchability is a high thing on my factor of judging films. And for me, it's one of the most rewatchable Batman movies ever. I
You know how
love I love the Chris Nolan movies too. I
this
have the box set of the Chris Nolan movies, and I also have a poster of it on my wall. But I will tell you, if you were going to tell me on a Friday or Saturday night, and if I was going to sit down with my husband and have a good time, which movies do I think I would enjoy more for an after work treat? I'm going to tell you Batman and Robin and Batman Forever over the Dark Knight trilogy, and I don't care who thinks I'm subpar for it.
I can tell you that this Batman and Robin 1997, this is the origin of hate that I have for Channing Tatum in any upcoming Gambit movie. Let me explain. Batman and Robin was essentially the culmination of them just taking top A-list actors and then putting them in superhero or villain roles, which I think gave way to them doing things like being light on plot and just saying, wouldn't it be cool to have Arnold Schwarzenegger play Iceman or
I
Uma
thought
Thurman
Arnold
play
Schwarzenegger was
Poison
great as
Ivy?
Iceman.
And then they come in and then they vamp up the screen. And so all we do is we just get high profile actors, we dress them up in costumes, and put some sort of asinine plot out there. And so this is what started it, and that's almost sank the industry with this nonsense like this. And I still find that the industry to this day, they still just try to find an actor and shoehorn him into the role and be like, hey, we've got this actor and he's wearing this costume. Isn't this cool? That's what it goes back to, and this is where it started for me.
Are you?
Rotten
Is this a
Tomatoes.
thing? Is this a thing about Amazing Spider-Man with Jamie Foxx? Still, we're still on that. Is that what you're referring to with
Oh
the?
yeah, that one too. There you
Okay.
go. That's exactly right, Bill.
Okay.
Exactly right. It's I'm pointing to my nose right there. You really hit the nail on the head right there. Jamie Foxx included.
Well,
Oh my
I'm going to say I thought Arnold Schwarzenegger was a fantastic Mr. Freeze. Um,
Was this when he was banging the maid or was this after? I can't remember. What's the time
this
frame?
is. Oh, okay. I was like, this is real life. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
10% on Rotten Tomatoes. Critical consensus. I'll add this extra word. Dilwee Joel Schumacher's tongue-in-cheek attitude hits an unbearable limit in Batman and Robin, resulting in a frantic and mindless movie that's too jokey to care much for.
well,
Do we
I
recall
will.
at the time for me that Batman and Robin received a lot of vitriol? Didn't that kind of like put a
Yeah.
damper on the industry for a little bit
It
after that?
it sort of well, I mean, it was the last Batman of the original Batman movies. So if you want to blame it for the fact that the Batman movies didn't continue after that, then I guess you can. The lead actor George Clooney, again blames himself for the end of that franchise. You know,
What does he blame
whatever.
himself? What is he didn't write the script? He didn't direct it.
Well, it's like one of those things where after the movie's made, like the Ryan Reynolds slash Andrew
Yeah,
Garfield
yeah.
thing.
Trust me. So what if Batman and Robin would have made $300 million at the time? He would have been like, "Yes, I'm glad the fans like it. I really enjoyed doing Batman and Robin."
Right. Anyway, I do thoroughly enjoy the movie, and I think it's a lot of fun. I think
That's I would say that's a guilty pleasure. You should
well,
feel
I
shame.
don't have any guilt about it, but okay,
Fucking
I'll go with
shame
that.
for that. You know how I feel about Joel Schumacher, even though he's done a couple Game of Thrones episodes. I've tried to open my heart to him a little bit more, but seeing Batman and Robin just brings back too many ill feelings.
He also directed The Lost Boys. Right.
Yeah, he's done good movies, Bill. Unfortunately, the Batman and Robin is a stain. I don't know. I mean, I
I
you
hear
know,
you. I'm not trying to
will I
tell
invite him
anybody
to the
else.
PCP Christmas party? Will I invite Joel Schumacher to the PCP Christmas
I,
party?
cer- I actually, I certainly would.
It'd be difficult. It'll be
Wow.
difficult. I
Well,
mean, you would try to sit him next to your table to be like this. So, tell me more about the scenes that you filmed. And I'd be like, he sits at the table in the back, table 38. That's where he sits.
well, well. I will say this as somebody who has been around since, old man here, since the original Batman movie franchise, who watched episodes of the '66 TV series, and who watches a show that's highly, quite honestly, influenced by both of those things, as well as many other elements of Batman, including The Dark Knight Returns and the Chris Nolan trilogy. Um, these movies still influence the way Batman is portrayed on the big screen and the small screen to this day. So there are elements, like it or not, of Batman and Robin and Batman Forever in Gotham. And, I thoroughly enjoy that show. And I can see where they're pulling some of these influences from. And as a fan of those things, I do appreciate that.
Okay. My next movie is Con Air, 1997, also. Nicolas
Isn't that
Cage,
Nick
John
Cage? Isn't that the
Cusack,
actor
John Malkovich.
you say is like just a whore?
What's that?
Aren't you always talking about how Nick Cage is just a whore?
Yeah, but he was doing some good movies back at the time. Con Air, The Rock,
Wow. Those movies are directed by oh
Michael
god,
Bay.
yeah, Transformers.
Yeah, they're in my collection, Bill.
Are they
Now,
in your permanent collection, or when you say in my collection, because I personally haven't seen your actual physical media collection in some time. I've kind of thought you maybe threw them out or gave them away to
it's up in
Goodwill.
the attic. It's all digital now anymore, so you really just can't be except your house where you put your stuff on the shelf anymore.
Right.
It's not the same. It's not the
So it's
same.
in your digital collection, is that what you're saying?
No, it's in my
No,
physical collection.
it's upstairs in the attic. Is it on DVD? Yeah, because
Yeah.
you don't buy Blu-rays. Okay.
But anyway, Con Air. Yeah, Nicolas Cage is a whore now. This is my point with you. These actors eventually turn into, they'll do all sorts of slop. Ben Kingsley now will do anything for a paycheck. Okay. And
Okay.
so he has to play the whole stain shtick. I was Gandhi once and I won an Academy Award, but look at me. I'm playing against type. I'm playing against this like villain with gold teeth in his mouth, like rapping and stuff. Isn't that crazy? That's the roles he's doing now.
Because when you get a certain age in Hollywood, Jay, I hate to tell you this, but sometimes you become grateful just to have a fucking job and pay the rent. Because like old people in all the rest of the industries in the world, no one really has time for you once you get past a certain age.
So as your body starts breaking down, you're going to be selling that ass on the street, trying to get some sort
Wow,
of like
really?
money for the medication. Is that what you're going to be doing?
Really? I'm just saying, I think, there's something to be said for, an employed actor versus Monique.
All right, all right. Either way, there was a time where Nicolas Cage was doing some movies that I enjoyed on a popcorn, cheese ball, ridiculous level.
And by the
And
way, as you're going through this
this is like pre Armageddon. I think Con Air came at a time where I was just like, I'm down with this. I'm down with The Rock. It's a little bit over the top, but it seems enjoyable to me.
it's one of
But
the
at no
last
point,
action movies that were, just generic, not based on I don't want to say generic, I'm not trying to shoot it down. I'm saying not based on a pre-existing property the way all movies today are. It was one of those like 80s action movies just because it was action, people loved it.
yeah, but it also had so many stars, and it's all the whole like it's just a plane full of the hardened criminals, the worst criminals in America, and they're all on one plane being transported. And Nicolas Cage is just a guy just trying to get back to his wife and daughter for being in
Right.
prison for something he didn't do, trying to defend their honor.
Right.
I mean,
Insert Die Hard slash
oh,
Cliffhanger slash every movie Arnold
whoa,
Schwarzenegger
whoa,
did in the
whoa,
80s.
whoa. Don't throw Die Hard in there. Die Hard is legitimately the fucking
It's
shit movie.
it's
Okay, Cliffhanger, Con Air, The Rock are of the same ilk. Die Hard is not in that ilk, my friend.
it totally it is in the same wheelhouse or genre as all of the 80s action movies
Yeah,
starring
if you want to put
Sylvester
it in the
Stallone and
category
Arnold
of
Schwarzenegger.
action, fine, but I feel like you're trying to lump it in there with some sort of quality thing.
I'm not. I'm just trying to say there is a style that was popular in the 80s and early 90s of just action, big action hero movie stars. It was
Yeah,
kind of a big thing, and this it certainly fits in within that style.
sure. Cliffhanger when that's on television, I leave that on too with John Lithgow, Sly
I don't think I've
Stallone.
ever seen it.
Oh, it's also one of those things you're just like this. It's so dumb, but it's just so good. Ah, I miss those movies. Um,
I would say in some ways I miss some of them, like the Die Hards in some ways, but I don't know if I ever really got into like Cliffhanger and, I mean, like I'm talking like Rambo. I mean, it's those kinds of movies that were just
yeah.
like,
Do you remember Over the Top with Sly Stallone? Him playing
no, I don't. Do you remember the original Judge Dredd?
Yeah, I do. Oh, now that's bad. That's bad. There's what is it? Chris Kattan, who's the sidekick character in there?
I've never seen that either.
Yeah, it's not it's bad, but not even in an enjoyable fashion. It's just unenjoyable, not good movie.
Okay.
Will not leave on. Anyway, but Con Air, still watch it. No, if this movie came out nowadays, I'd sit there and roll my eyes. And you know what it is? This is like the Fast and Furious. But at a time, this had more flair, more style.
Because at the time you were a child and you embraced your inner child and let
Yeah.
it
What year? What
bloom.
year was Armageddon?
1997.
Armageddon?
Yes.
Get the fuck out!
Well, look it up, but I'm pretty sure.
Wow, that's something.
I love
I
that
don't know.
movie. By the way, that's certainly one of my guilty slash pleasures.
Yeah, I know. I know you do. But that's a movie where I'm just like, no way, no how. Armageddon. It's too much for me.
It's just so
But
much
it's the same
fun.
concept, though. It's the same concept as Con Air and The Rock.
Right. Which is funny to me when you hear people complain today about stuff like Marvel movies all being cookie
1998, Bill.
cutter. What was what?
1998, Armageddon.
Okay, I was close. 1 year off.
Mhm.
But it's funny to me when you think about all these generic insert big muscly bodybuilder slash actor action hero movies from the 80s, like Rambo and all of that. Terminator would even fit that mold to me. It's funny when you hear people complain about like Marvel movies all being the same and cookie cutter, when really, all blockbuster movies going way back to when blockbusters were created, like in the 70s and 80s, were sort of cookie cutter. I mean, there's sort of a formula to all of these things, and it still exists, but it's not like it's new. There have always been movies that sort of were formulaic. Ask Walt Disney. Every fucking Disney princess movie is a formula.
I'm sorry, I have to read to you the Armageddon um, plot.
You have to what?
I'm going to read you the plot synopsis.
Okay.
After astronomy students discover a comet asteroid collision, an asteroid fragment the size of the Superdome threatens. It's destroyed by a secret USA defense in space, but a large chunk veers off towards Singapore. With another asteroid the size of Texas en route, a plan is devised to send oil drillers to land on the asteroid and drop a nuclear device down a 100-foot shaft. A scheme calculated to crack the asteroid into two halves, saving Earth. NASA begins a crash program to train beer oil roughnecks for the mission. Beer bespotted oil roughnecks for the mission. During a stopover to refuel at the Mir station, the space station is accidentally destroyed, so a Russian cosmonaut also joins the team.
Yeah.
Right
I
now, when you pull up Interstellar with Chris Nolan, he's rolling his head like, did you guys do any research on this? Just send some oil riggers up
This
to
is what
drill
I'm
some
saying.
holes?
These movies, those movies aren't about actual reality. It's about a bunch of fucking misfits. It's Independence Day on a fucking asteroid, okay? It's a bunch of fucking misfits saving the damn world. I mean, why do you need it
I,
to be scientifically accurate?
I know. It is, Bill, but not everything comes through. That's the problem with it. I can only take so many. I've taken Con Air, I've taken Cliffhanger, I've taken The Rock. I it's too much. I
To
can't take
each his
Armageddon.
own. Armageddon is my go-to July 4th movie. Yours is probably Independence Day if you have one. Every year, I make it a point to watch that movie because it's so goddamn patriotic. It's like a goddamn American flag music video. It is. It's total cheese. I
Tell my
admit.
daughter that I love her, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
try to save the world by blowing up this asteroid and setting the nuclear bomb off.
Yes. It reminds me of a time when, like I said, the early '80s generic action hero movies where men were men and boys were boys. I mean, it takes me back, and I totally embrace it.
Critical consensus. Lovely to look at, but is about as intelligent as the asteroid that serves as the movie's antagonist. Armageddon slickly sums up the cinematic legacies of producer Jerry Bruckheimer and the director Michael Bay.
And it was a blast and a half. They
Last
forgot
and a
that part.
half. Rousing hit. The audience loves the movie. Not a fan. All right, give me another one, Bill. Shoot 'em out.
The original Daredevil movie, which, by the way, I will say to you,
Wow.
I still enjoy and think it's better than the Netflix series. It embraces what it actually is instead of trying to hide it behind a bunch of mumbo jumbo about mobsters taking over Hell's Kitchen. I mean, those elements are in there, but instead of talking the talk, they walk the walk in the movie, where Daredevil is supposed to be this supremely agile, um, gymnastics like kind of superhero who, uses sonar to see with. They show you this in the movie version uh, lots of times. And they show Ben Affleck doing some cool ass flips and shit, like out of a Daredevil comic book, which is really the point for me. Instead of doing a lot of like, Catholic guilt, talking about, how angry he is all the time, and then you never, really see much demonstration of the powers as depicted in the Netflix show. It does what it's supposed to do, Daredevil the movie, and that is make the Daredevil character from the comic come to life on a screen. I enjoy it more than Netflix.
I hear you. Isn't this a scene where like Ben Affleck tries to impress Jennifer Gardner, and they're at some sort of like playground set, and they
Yes, they're
start
on the teeter totter.
yeah, they start flipping around. That's like their courting ritual. I
Yeah.
mean,
Hey,
oh,
you know what? It's a demonstration of much how many his powers work in a way that's more effective than what they do on the Netflix show. I'm sorry. The Netflix show is a guy walking around with some nunchucks in a fucking Daredevil costume. He doesn't really have any display of any kind of superpowers, and it sort of takes away from the element of what it's supposed to be to me.
listen, Bill, I know it's a pleasure for you, but you should feel guilty over it. Guilty, I tell you.
Well, I don't, and I also, by the way, love Colin Farrell as I want to say Target because that's what's on his head.
Wait,
What's the
what?
guy's? What's Colin Farrell's character's
Oh,
name?
Bullseye.
Bullseye. That's it. I was going to call him Target. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think the whole thing is Michael. What's his last name? The guy that died, Omarosa's man,
What's his name? Are you talking Ving Rhames? Not Ving
Michael
Rhames.
Clark Duncan
Michael Clark Duncan. I
as
liked him
Kingpin.
as the role of Kingpin. I thought
Yeah,
that was kind of a creative change.
yeah. The whole thing is,
And not
I
to be
enjoy it.
physically imposing, which kind of fits a little bit. So I thought that was a cool change.
Yeah.
But outside of that, guilty indeed. Critical consensus. While Ben Affleck fits the role and the story is sporadically interesting, Daredevil is ultimately a dull, brooding origin story that fails to bring anything new to the genre.
That
44%.
describes to me the Netflix show. To be honest with you.
I see that Jennifer Garner's got her ass on the front cover of this Daredevil thing. Trying to sex it up, got her in tight leather. I'm
Yeah.
just making an observation.
I don't love Jennifer Garner, but I like her better than that girl who played Elektra in the series.
Yeah, hearing your pleasure list, I'm even ashamed just to even be looking at these things on my computer. I feel like somehow.
Are you going to tell me, Jay, that there are elements that you do not think were done better in the movie than you think are done in the TV show? Because see, I know the answer to this question, but I want to hear you say it on the air.
Well, no, obviously in the Daredevil movie, they did things better than they do on the TV show, but a part of that I think is also budget.
If you don't have the budget to do the show, then don't do the damn show. I'm tired of hearing this about Netflix. Oh, Netflix has to keep the budgets down. Well, they've got a trillion TV shows. If you can't do the show the way it's supposed to be done, then do something else.
But Daredevil suffers suffers from the same things that I had a problem with Joel Schumacher, Batman and Robin. They're being a little bit too cornballish. And that's where Netflix succeeds in other areas. They're trying to take the movie to a different level, make it more dramatic. And Daredevil still suffers from this, trying to be like, well, we're trying to be funny and trying to be cutesy.
Daredevil the movie or Daredevil the Netflix show?
Daredevil the movie.
Okay. Whereas the Netflix show, instead of trying to be cutesy and bubbly, they'll just bore you to death until you fall asleep watching it. That's better. Really?
Fair enough. Maybe it should be 13 hours. Okay. My next and last movie is Deep Blue Sea. Samuel Jackson and Thomas Jane, 1999.
My husband would appreciate that. That's one of his favorites too.
Oh, is it? Yeah, they go over there. This fits the mold for me. Like you're saying, it's the 80s action type of thing. It's just the mindless. We're going to this, station out in the sea where we're making these sharks smarter. They get out, and we try to have to get away from the sharks. It's just corny as fuck. You have Jaws 3, Jaws 4, Jaws 5, and all these other stuff, but Deep Blue Sea just does it in a fashion when it's on television. I'll leave it on. If I flip past the station, I will stop, drop, and sit there and be like, ooh, this is so good here. Oh, I hope the sharks get out. Oh, they're so smart. How are they going to get out of this?
Yeah.
Here you go. Critical consensus. Aside from a few thrills, Deep Blue Sea is unoriginal and unintelligent.
Wow, that's what they say about a lot of those movies. Yeah,
Whatever.
it's not a favorite. I
Uh,
remember seeing it because my husband drug me to it, and I was like, oh,
and I guess part of being a guilty pleasure, when you ask me why some of these movies would not be like I would own them or keep them, sometimes a movie experience for me is watching it with others. And I don't necessarily need to go upstairs and watch Deep Blue Sea, but if it's on television, I'll watch it. But imagine if I were to sit down with like my significant other and put on one of these movies, they're going to look at me cross-eyed, and it's not going to be a pleasurable movie experience because they're going to be like this: "Are you serious with this? No, you're joking now, right? Battlefield Earth, we're watching this, right? This
I would love to see you try to get your girlfriend to sit down and watch Battlefield Earth with you. I would love that. I think that should be like the first time you guys, sit down and watch a movie together all the way through. You should like force toothpicks in her eyeballs to watch all the way to the end.
I've tried to watch a few movies that I never saw before because I was so excited about them based on the plot synopsis or the trailer. And instantly, within watching the first 5 minutes of it, that I knew, like for myself, that it wasn't going to be good. But just to sit there and like to watch the reaction of the other person, and they're looking at you like, I can't believe you've taken my time up to come over here to watch this thing.
Hmm.
This is the crap that you're excited about. And then I have to respond with like, listen, I didn't know it was going to be this bad. I'm feeling a certain way about it too. I mean,
That was
it's like
kind of the experience I had the last time I was up there to watch. I forget
Moonlight.
what it was we saw, but we watched Valerian.
Oh, Valerian. Oh,
Yeah, and I was like, "Oh, you got to see this," and then I remembered, "Oh, it's really not that good." Oh,
that's because I kept looking over you cross-eyed. It changes the whole movie experience. We're like,
it
can you not
does.
be negative? Like, I just,
When you
no.
see, because I sort of saw it through your eyes, and the first time I saw it, I was by myself, so I wasn't like, and I didn't think it was like the best thing I saw all year, but I was like, I enjoyed that. I would buy that. And then when I watched with you, I was like, oh, this is pretty bad.
This is what I've noticed. A few movies. I watched Boo 2, Medea, and I watched Geostorm this weekend with Gerald Butler. And this is where I'm at now in 2018 on February 4th. Any of the writers out there in Hollywood who start off their blockbuster film or action scene and they have to write 2 or 3 lines explaining how great the main character is, I find that that's already going to be negative 10 points. I suggest you find a more creative way to let me know that he's an alpha male besides sitting there going like, I'm looking for Derek Smith. Derek Smith? Yeah. The Derek Smith? Yes. The best pilot we ever had graduate from the Air Force West Point Academy? The one that like shot down 50 people and never took a bullet? That Derek Smith? Yes. Well, he retired because he was tired of the bullshit. But he's here. He's here. Yes. Oh my God, I've heard stories about it. When you start off writing some shit like that, I'm already out because it's clunky. I get it. You want to explain to me he's the best in the universe, the best on the planet, all of these things, but you want to do it in 2 or 3 sentences. It's lazy. So anytime you start off like that, I'm already out. I'm already out nowadays.
Okay, duly noted.
You've got to be more creative. I mean, I watched Geostorm. It's the same thing. The best engineer ever. He was awarded several different medals, but where is he at now? He's living in a trailer park because he was like, I'm like, oh, okay, I really, it's just simple. It's simple. It's something like I would write
And
for
when you
myself.
watched Geostorm, were you thinking it was going to be multi-layered? And when it came
I,
out with the title, the trailer, and all that stuff, did you think this is going to be
you're
some
right.
kind
I
of awards
willingly
bait?
encountered it, Bill. I willingly encountered it. It's my own fault. It's my own fault.
Sometimes
Yeah.
I think you go in with unrealistic expectations of movies. Um,
Bill, I want to give it a chance. Doesn't everybody deserve a chance?
yeah, but then you're gonna hate on it because it's giving you exactly what you thought you were gonna get in the first place. Well, sometimes I think you have to adjust your thinking to be like, this is gonna be lowbrow. It's just gonna be a rollicking good time. I think you said that happened with a movie that you saw recently. Was it Warcraft? Anyway, you know,
All right.
Sometimes
So
you get what you take into it.
that's it for me. Do you have anything remaining on your list?
Um, the last one I have is Catwoman, of course. So,
Oh,
um,
God.
yeah. Listen, yeah, again, it's uh Halle Berry walking around in a skin tight leather outfit with a cat cowl on her head. I mean, I don't really have any problems with any of it. I thought it was fun. Sharon Stone played like an over the top makeup villain. Uh,
Doesn't she put the makeup on and makes her skin so hard? That's why she's able to fight
yeah,
Catwoman.
yeah, something like that. Like, but I mean, I watched soap operas where, if you recall, on General Hospital in the '80s, the Ice Princess, the largest diamond in the world,
Uh huh.
was responsible for freezing Port Charles with an ice ray. So, you know, these things are de rigueur for me. They're just standard fare, so they don't bother me. Um, I just thought it was fun. I thought it was just a good time. So,
This movie has received 9% on Rotten Tomatoes. Came out in 2004. I remember this movie with all like the cheeseball lines where she's just
sure.
like meow, like this kitty needs milk or something like that. It's just
I love
any
that stuff.
anything with cats and milk and purring. They try to create some sort of line or joke off of it, and then the real downer for me on this movie, I think, is when was it? Is it Benjamin Bratt?
It is.
And he's like a detective and he finds her on a basketball court
Yeah.
and then she starts dribbling the ball. She
Yeah.
starts flipping and dunking in front of the children.
Yeah.
It's just it's over the top, just like.
I enjoyed it.
And what
And
is she doing with that costume? How did she get that costume? Is she just sitting there up in her like room and like, you know what? I need more slits because I need to make my costume sexy when I go out into the town.
Jay, where did Michelle Pfeiffer? Michelle Pfeiffer sewed up her own like plastic pleather cat suit. I mean, it's basically leather pants and like a leather top just ripped up with her claws. I mean, it's not like a complicated thing. And a cat cowl or whatever. I
I
mean,
find I think this is another Channing Tatum for me where I thought if they thought the studios were projecting that maybe if we put Halle Berry in some sort of like sexy outfit gear, that it would make millions of dollars because everybody finds Halle Berry pretty. And so now we're going to be showing off more skin. So let's go see Halle Berry with like less clothes on. I thought that's what the
I
thing.
don't have a problem with any of those statements. Not anything you just said.
See, I think there might be like 100 bills in the studio audience or their testing audience right there. That's why these things are getting greenlit. I can tell you right now, I'm paying studios. I'd have been like, get out of my office while you're over there going like this. I'll write a check today for this movie. Halle Berry, Catsuit, Catwoman. How much do you want?
I'm not gonna. It's my list. I can't take it back.
I know. You're going to be like this. And not to boot, you got Michelle Pfeiffer, hot diggity dog. We're banking the whole studio on this movie right here.
Wow. Hater.
I know. That's guilty. That's so funny. Just pleasures for me. All right, Bill.
That's the last
We're
one
into
on my
box
list.
office mojo.
Okay.
Are you ready for that? Is that too much of a abrupt stop for you?
No, it's fine.
Okay. For the weekend of February 2nd through the 4th, also known as Super Bowl weekend 2018, episode 61, the number one movie, Jumanji. Welcome to the jungle.
Well, again, we've discussed this on a previous show, but I did not see this coming at all.
Yeah, pulling in another $11 million total worldwide.
855.
855, Bill.
Yeah.
Fuck.
That's more money than Batman and Robin and Justice League.
Now, I agree with you that I also did not see this coming. Carlos pointed out to me that Jumanji has some sort of like millennial street cred, like it's like there's some sort of I don't know what you would call it for us, the Goonies or Gremlins. Like Jumanji
I don't
has.
remember Jumanji being that big of a deal when it first came out. Like,
I,
I didn't think it was a bomb, but I don't remember it being like such a
I
touchstone
don't
for the
recall that
generation.
either. Yeah, I don't recall that either
Okay.
at all. But
Mm-mm.
apparently, I'm missing something. And
Apparently, we both are because it's going to own everybody's ass before it's over with.
yeah, that executive somewhere is going like, "I told you so." That's why I could care less. February 19th, December, here we come. Um, the number two movie in its second week of release, Maze Runner, The Death Cure.
I forgot that was even out.
Yeah, yeah. By the way, Jumanji's been out for 7 weeks. Still the number one movie.
Wow.
Um, let's see. In the second week, it's gross 40 million domestically total, and 142 foreign. So it's up to 182. The production budget is about 62 million.
That's really not bad. Considering the fact that the third one is so far removed from the other two because of the accident that the star went through and they had to
Yeah,
postpone the whole movie and all of that business. So,
they're not connected. It's amazing that they're still good for them.
yeah, good for them. I mean, it's not going to turn out to be one of those. What was that movie that that girl, the actress that was supposed to be in Spider Man, said she wasn't going to do it because they were going to put it on TV instead of making it in the movie theater?
Who is that?
Ugh. It's one of those young adult novel Hunger Games ripoffs.
Oh, what's her name? Shayna Woodley.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Shailene Woodley or something.
Yeah.
What's the name of the franchise?
Insurgent, Divergent
Yeah, yeah,
series.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That one. They're not even going to put it in the third one in theaters. Why don't they just sell it to Netflix?
It's so
Maybe she'll do it if they put it on Netflix.
yeah, whatever. It's so terrible. It's so just so
That's kind
bad.
of sad for the people who like the first two movies, though. I mean, at least they could do is finish the trilogy. I mean, God.
Yeah, preteen special. CW should take that on. That seems like their wheelhouse. All right, the number three movie opening this weekend: Winchester horror movie,
Oh,
Lionsgate,
did you say that was going to make like $2?
$9 million.
Probably cost 9,000. So
Yeah. Um, prices haven't been revealed. Starring Helen Mirren. It's opening behind Maze Runner, The Death Cure, and Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle. I don't
yeah, but
really
it's
have.
still in the top three, though. I don't know if that's considered really that bad.
What are you talking? It barely beat out the number four movie, The Greatest Showman, who's been out for 7 weeks, pulling in 8 million.
I've got to
Are you
see that
are
movie.
you serious with that? It barely cracked the top three, and you have two movies that have been out for damn near 2 months.
It's a horror movie. I mean, it's not it, so it doesn't have that kind of marquee value.
Okay, so what's going to happen next week? It's going to drop 50%, so it's going to pull in another three 3 million. It'll be up to 12, 13 million. It's a bomb. Bomb, I tell you right now.
Okay.
Winchester. I mean, try to come up with a marketing program, at least if you're going to try to sell
I
the
never
horror.
even heard of it. When you texted me about it, I was like, what the fuck is he talking about?
That just shows you we have too many Americans who are going like this. It's either Jumanji or The Greatest Showman, and what they're saying is we already saw those movies, so what's left? Maze Runner, The Death Cure. They're like, oh, I can't remember the first two. Let's just go see Winchester. That's what happened. And the number five movie after The Greatest Showman. Well, let's see here. Let's get the total for you since we're Hugh Jackman fans. Um, total domestic 137 million, foreign 153 million for a total of 290 million.
That's pretty good.
I don't think it's too bad at all. And the number five movie, which I do want to see at some point on video, is Hostiles with Christian Bell and Ben Foster.
Never heard of it.
The way they advertise it and sell it is that like it's the next Unforgiven.
Really? It's a Western?
Western. It's a Western.
Okay.
Um,
Where do they put these ads? Because I mean, I'm all over Twitter like every day, all day, and I never saw anything about this movie.
maybe you have to click around. You watch like regular television sometimes. Maybe put on a different station,
Well,
TNT. Just
yeah,
play
but I mean,
TLC. They.
no, I don't.
Okay. Well, it pulled in $5 million, for a total of $21 million over 7 weeks.
Well, that's all right.
Yeah, I think it'll be a bigger hit on DVD, but it's not doing too well in the theaters.
Well, what
What
are
are
you
you
gonna
going to
do?
do? What are you going to do? So, anyway, the rest of the movies after that are The Post, 12 Strong, Den of Thieves with Gerald Butler, The Shape of Water, and Paddington 2, which, by the way, if I had a younger child, I would take him to see because it does look cute.
Well, aren't you gonna watch it when it hits Netflix anyway?
Yes, I will. But I'm
Oh,
just saying, it looks kind of cute.
okay. I think I'll pass.
You're gonna pass on that?
I
Okay.
never saw Paddington 1. I mean, I read those stories, when I worked
Yeah.
at a preschool.
Yeah. I'm not
But
gonna be watching Paddington 1 either, but
then why would you watch the second one?
because it looked cute.
What about the first one?
I don't know if I really need background on Paddington, Bill. Do I
Maybe,
really need to watch the first Paddington?
yeah. Why would you? I just don't understand why you would. Why watch either one of them
This
then?
is
This
not
is
a
what I don't
Star
understand.
Wars story or the Fellowship of the Ring. It's a animated film. It's like the Boss Baby. Do I need to watch Boss Baby 1 to watch Boss Baby 2? I really
No,
don't
but
know
if
if
you
I need
don't
to.
care about one, why the hell would you care about two?
Maybe 2 looks more interesting. Maybe if they told you we're doing Boss Baby 2, but we've got like John Lasseter from Pixar coming over to do some things. I bet your ass be over there watch Boss Baby 2.
No, because John Lasseter's on the Hollywood pervert list. Okay, so they're not letting him back in the studio gates.
Uh,
Speaking of which,
uh,
we don't really need to get into this because we've got like 3 minutes left till our 2 hour line. Maybe we could just quickly. You saw the news report about Uma Thurman, right?
no, I didn't.
Well, of course she's accusing Harvey Weinstein of being, her one of her, her abuser. She's one of his victims.
Okay,
But
join the club.
also in the New York Times article that was published, I think yesterday, she said she also will never work with Quentin Tarantino again because Quentin Tarantino basically endangered her life doing Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2 when he made her get into some kind of vehicle that she felt was unsafe and do some kind of scene that she felt like she didn't want to do. And so then he became some kind of like, not necessarily sexual abuser, but like just abusive director. Like he told her if she didn't do the scene, he would never work with her again, blah, blah, blah. This explains why Uma Thurman's not in any of his movies anymore when he was kind of like in love with her for the first.
Yeah, I loved her feet. Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
all right.
So, anyway,
Oh, well, that's
read the article if you get a chance. It's in the New York
yeah,
Times.
that's interesting. I mean, there's nothing there. I thought you were going to say that somehow that Quentin Tarantino did something else to her, like sexually or something.
No, he just told her, you'll never work in this town again if you don't do exactly what I tell you. And people think that some kind of like line was crossed with that. They're
Did
probably
you
right.
find that to be inappropriate? Did you take that to
I
be?
don't know. I mean, you'd like to think that they're not going to endanger the actresses' lives when they're trying to make a movie, right? I mean, I don't think anything that's going up on the screen
Well,
is
in
worth
that
somebody
sense, that
dying.
would be appropriate. Either you do this scene, get in this car, we're going to shoot it down the street at 80 miles per hour, or you could go get in the unemployment line. I mean, that seems to be a bit of a problem. I don't think that's good for
Well, Uma
business.
Thurman thinks it
That's
is.
kind of like any type of job. You have certain safety protocols. You don't just have people remove the safety protocols because you need to make the widgets faster, and then people are losing fingers. There's certain laws in place. So, I mean, it sounds like bad press for him being more of an asshole.
Yeah, it kind of is.
Hmm. So that was after Kill Bill 2 or Kill Bill 1?
Must have been after Kill Bill. Well, I think Kill Bill was filmed as a singular movie, and then it was just split up into
Okay, I see.
two pieces. So, but I always did wonder like why she wasn't in any of his further movies, and then
Hmm.
I guess there's an explanation for that. So,
Oh, there you go. That's interesting.
so
All
anyway,
right. So, Bill, is that the end of our whole thing here?
I think it is. I think
So the
you've got
next time I see you will be for Black Panther.
2 weeks. Yeah. Are you ready?
Ah,
Are you ready for Black Panther?
you know, I'm hoping that Black Panther does well financially as well as critically. I imagine when we do the show, I might feel a little bit differently.
Well, I hope that it turns out to be enjoyable for both of us.
Yeah, I'm not going
Uh,
in there to be negative, but we're gonna have to deal with Chadwick Boseman's accent
sure.
and Michael B. Jordan's poor acting line, and
I've explained this to you off the air. I just want it to be, you know, an enjoyable movie for me. I mean, if I can get around the accent because the rest of the movie is so good, or because there's elements in the movie that I still find fun, then I can get around the accent. If there's an accent and the movie's humdrum, then I'm gonna have problems. If there's an accent that I can't get around, and then the movie's no fun either, that's when I'll have a problem. But I'm not super picky, as you know, and if they can give me enough to hang my coat on that I can enjoy, I'm down. I just don't want it to be. I know there's two types of Marvel movies. One is the fun type, the Guardians of the Galaxy type, and one is like the serious adult, drama, which is like the Winter Soldier type. Doctor Strange fits probably into the Winter Soldier type, but not as good. And I just hope Black Panther finds some kind of medium between Guardians and Doctor Strange, and I'll be happy.
Okay. This is what I have to say to that.
I know you were gonna
I'm done with your nonsense.
Well, have fun at your Super Bowl party.
Oh, thank you. I'm just getting together with a few people. Now I have to
That is so loud. You've got to turn that down.
It's too loud?
Yeah, I could not barely hear what you were saying.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
I mean, it's just a few people get together, tell some stories, laugh it up a little bit, eat some food, come home, and then we got to get ready to go to the salt mine tomorrow. Are you ready for those harpies?
No, I'm actually not. So
Yeah. So
it's going to happen whether I want it to or not. So I might as well get my head around it.
extra day. We need one more extra day on the weekend. How great
Yes,
was that?
we do.
Okay. I enjoyed our time.
Yep.
I'll see you in 2 weeks.
I'll talk to
Peace
you later.
out, people.
Bye.
Thank you.